Second stimulus check update and your stimulus package update as of Thursday, October 1st. Regarding the second stimulus check and the stimulus package, the Republicans have now counteroffered the Democrats. The Democrats, their offer is $2.2 trillion, and the Republicans' counteroffer is $1.62 trillion. Nancy Pelosi, leader of the Democrats, is fired up about the current state of the negotiations, and she told her fellow Democrats that she has not slept in 2 nights. The House of Representatives, they delayed voting on the stimulus package last night because they wanted to clarify certain details on the stimulus package. The politicians, they have successfully passed the government funding bill, both in the House of Representatives and the Senate, and it has now been signed into law by President Trump. The next presidential debate will be held on October 15th in Miami. The commission that is overseeing the presidential debate, they want to cut off the microphones if someone tries to interrupt the person that is speaking. The weekly unemployment report was released this morning. The amount of new people filing for unemployment last week was 837,000 people. This is a slight decrease from the prior week by 36,000 people. COVID-19 cases, they are holding steady at 42,000 cases in the United States, and cases are surging in Europe. This is your Thursday news, and happy October. Nancy Pelosi is the leader of the Democrats in the House of Representatives. Steven Mnuchin is the Treasury Secretary, and he represents the negotiating team on the stimulus package. The Democrats, they gave their $2.2 trillion stimulus package offer. The Republicans, they countered with $1.62 trillion. Here are the major differences in the Democrat stimulus package and the Republicans' counteroffer. The Republicans, they want to extend unemployment benefits for $400 a week. The Democrats, they want to extend unemployment benefits for $600 a week. For state and local government funding, the Republicans, they want to give $186 billion less than the Democrats. The Democrats, they want to give $436 billion. The Republicans counteroffered with $250 billion. For education funding, the Republicans, they are offering $150 billion. The Democrats, they want $225 billion. The Republicans, they also want to give $5 billion less to the post office than the Democrats. The counteroffer includes a second stimulus check and a second round of PPP for small businesses and the self-employed. Other highlights of the Republican counteroffer include $28 billion for student loan assistance, $60 billion for renter assistance and mortgage relief, $25 billion for child care assistance, $3 billion for the VA, $20 billion for farmers, $28 billion for the airlines, the amount of money for the restaurant industry that has still not been agreed upon yet. Nancy Pelosi told her fellow Democrats that she has not slept in 2 nights, and the Democrats are saying that Pelosi is frustrated and fired up about the current state of the stimulus package negotiations. Nancy Pelosi wants to get this stimulus package voted on as soon as possible. Pelosi said, and this is her direct quotes, "Secretary Mnuchin and I had an extensive conversation, and we found areas where we are seeking further clarification. Our conversations will continue. We will be proceeding with our votes on the updated HEROES Act in order to formalize our offer to the Republicans in the negotiations to address the health and economic catastrophe in our country." The stimulus package, it needs to pass in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. This stimulus package, the HEROES Act 2.0, it originated in the House of Representatives, which is controlled by the Democrats. Last night, the House, they were going to vote on the stimulus package. Then the vote got canceled in order to clarify certain details. Therefore, the House, they are planning on voting for this stimulus package today. If the stimulus package passes in the House of Representatives, it will go to the Senate, which is controlled by the Republicans. If the stimulus package progresses to the Senate, it is expected to meet resistance because the Senate Republicans are saying that the stimulus package is too expensive. Mitch McConnell, leader of the Republicans in the Senate, said that the Republicans and Democrats are very, very far apart, and the Democrats need to reduce the cost from their $2.2 trillion. Nancy Pelosi said the American people are worth the $2.2 trillion. Therefore, the stimulus package negotiations, they are still ongoing. I do want to mention that the House of Representatives is scheduled to break for vacation tomorrow. If you remember, Nancy Pelosi said that the politicians will not go back on vacation until a deal has been reached. I don't know what to tell you because the politicians, they are scheduled to go on break tomorrow. They're going back on break tomorrow in order to campaign. Congressman Hoyer, another leader of the Democrats, who is the House Majority Leader, said that the politicians will be called back in order to vote on the stimulus package. Hoyer told the politicians to keep their schedules flexible. To summarize where we stand today, the politicians, they're still negotiating, and the House of Representatives is planning on voting on the stimulus package today in order to move the stimulus package forward into the Senate. In political news, the politicians, they have passed the government funding bill in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. Last night, the Senate, they passed the bill on a vote of 84-10. The government, they will be funded until December 11th. This was just a temporary funding bill to hold the government over until after the elections. In economic news, the unemployment report was released this morning, and 837,000 new people filed for unemployment last week. That was a slight improvement from the prior week. However, many more companies, they have announced large-scale layoffs. American Airlines and United Airlines, they plan to lay off 32,000 people if the airlines don't receive a bailout soon. The large banks, they're also laying off employees as well, which includes HSBC, Goldman Sachs, and Wells Fargo. Walt Disney says that they're going to lay off 28,000 theme park workers who were furloughed. New York City is furloughing 9,000 government employees. Let's take a look at the COVID-19 news. In Europe, cases are surging and countries are seeing all-time high case counts. Some countries, they're reporting more cases than they were in March, and scientists, they're questioning whether the second wave will be bigger than the first. In the United States, we reported 42,812 new cases and 946 fatalities on Wednesday. This is according to the Johns Hopkins University. That's the news for today. Thank you so much for your support.